So if you choose this option right here, this one is a case study. This one is a little more involved and I'm going to go into more detail at the end of this video. But just real quick, if you do decide to do this one, this is a case study on paternalism. Paternalism is the idea that there is someone who knows more than you do and we need to put our trust in them for our own benefit. So that's the long story short version of paternalism. So in the textbook, there are case studies that you will review. So if you go into chapter 3, you'll see that there are 3 case studies at the end of the chapter. And what there's you need to pick one to review. There's faith healing parents arrested for the death of their second child. So this is going to be a conversation about a religious couple who takes their religious beliefs and puts them ahead of medical care. So you'll discuss that one. The second one is paternalism and how much influence does the state have in pregnant women's choices to drink alcohol, to do drugs, to do something that might harm their baby. At what point can the state step in to protect that baby? And the third one is medical fiduciary. Now this one right here is where someone is going to step in and they're going to be declared that you can't have any more say with this child. The state is going to step in and make all the medical choices for you. So for the case study, you have a very specific way you need to write it out. It is going to be a 3 to 4 paragraph response where you are researching something and you are going to give me what you think is the key problems, the key issues. You're going to try to find solutions to these and justify how you do that. And then give us something to consider for the future. So I'm going to show you kind of how to do this if this is an option you want to do, but this is going to be an intensive one. I would be looking for a lot of analysis. I would be looking for a lot of in-depth study, and this one would probably take you maybe 1 to 2 days if you fleshed it out at the level that would be expected. But all right, I'm going to go into more detail about kind of how to do that. When you're doing these case studies, you are not looking for a dry report of what it is. You're looking for things in between it. For example, let's take case number 2. I could go over here, especially today's day and age. Let me find it 1 second. Oh, I hate when I hit the wrong thing. For this one right here, what I've seen students do in the past is they'll copy the whole thing and they'll throw it into some type of AI summary and they'll be like, hey, give me a case study on this. What's the important factors? And that's fine. If it helps you understand it better, then, what am I supposed to do? But what you get is a very dry response. The first thing I would suggest to you is to take that case that they're talking about right here. What is the case? That's the first part of your research, is present your findings. Well, what did you find? Start from scratch. What is this case? And read it for yourself, because they will dumb it down for you in whatever summary that you find. You need to read it for yourself. When you read this for yourself, you start to see that wrapped up inside of this one is a case where as soon as a woman is pregnant, does she have control over her body? Because is it the state's responsibility to take care of the fetus that's inside? If I see someone who's pregnant and I see them smoking, and science has showed that cigarette smoke in heavy quantities can harm the fetus, does the state have the right to go over there and flick that cigarette out of their mouth? If they suspect you're lying about drinking alcohol while you're pregnant, can they test your blood? So this is exactly what this case talks about. And how much power does the state have when it comes to the onboard fetus in you? So what you would really be doing is you'd be diving into the nuances of what that is. Lay it out in front of you, because you have 2 people here. One is the person who's carrying the baby, and they are the authority of them. Nature has selected them to be the host and the curator of this fetus. But you have an outside force who wants to take control of that. So who has the right to control the potentiality of this fetus. That's the heart of what you're looking for. Once you have all that, clearly state, what is the problem with that ideology? What's the problem with full authority from the mother? What's the full authority of the state? What possible things do you see that's going to come up in this situation? And then once you have those, another thing, when you're looking for stuff, I wouldn't just look for the case by itself. Look for similar cases. Where have we seen cases like this before? Is there an update on this case? They will constantly remind you that in this day and age, cases set the precedent. The Constitution is one big, beautiful document, but how that document is interpreted through our cases, these cases usually dictate how the state does something. So, are we re-looking at this case? Is this case being challenged? So, you want to look at it from many different angles. So that's what your findings should reflect. And then once you have your findings, so now you can see how when you throw that into an AI or you just kind of take this case on face value, you're only getting one perspective of it. You have a very unique perspective that you need to give to this case. Because you may have kind of lens for us to look at that we haven't thought of yet. So present your brain to us, and then tell us, what do you think is the best solution to these problems? What ethical theory could help back up what you're thinking? Offer us, like, that's where the justifications come in. Like, look, they have to do X, and they have to do it this way, and I could prove it to you by this theory. That's kind of what you're working your way through for this one. So you can see this option is very detailed. The level is high. Don't let that intimidate you. I'm a flexible grader. I'm really just looking for effort in. So do your best with these. And really turn on that kind of Sherlock Holmes type of brain and dive into some of these. So, all right, so that would be what this one is. If you need help, please message me and I'll help guide you through this one.